6,000 bucks in your pocket and you need a reliable truck? Sounds impossible, right? But believe it or not, Consumer Reports has a few picks that are still worth every penny. Today, I'll show you which ones made the cut and exactly what to check before you buy so you don't end up with a headache on wheels. The used truck market is in a strange spot right now. Older pickups keep holding their value, but with some patience and a sharp eye, you can still find models that deliver durability at the price of a compact car. Let's jump into the trucks Consumer Reports says are worth it. If you're the type who values a truck that just won't quit, the mid-2000s second Toyota Tacoma is your kind of pickup. These are legendary for their reliability, and they're perfect for someone who needs a smaller, easier to maneuver truck for daily driving or weekend projects. The 4-cylinder is the safe bet for longevity, though the V6 has more punch if you plan to tow or haul regularly. Frames on these trucks were prone to rust in northern climates, so get underneath and check for corrosion before anything else. Expect around 20 to 23 miles per gallon with the 4-cylinder, dropping to the high teens with the V6. Most came with either a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed automatic. Simple, dependable setups without the overcomplicated electronics of newer trucks. Even older Tacomas often have decent cabin comfort, supportive seats, and surprisingly good visibility. Extended cab and crew cab versions give you extra flexibility for passengers or gear. Consumer Reports points to the 2005 to 2010 range as the sweet spot. With a careful search, you can still find clean examples around that $6,000 mark. And our next pick? It's bigger, bolder, and built like a tank, but still sneaks under that budget if you know where to look. Next up, the Ford F-150 from the mid-2000s. If the Tacoma is the dependable little brother, the F-150 is the family's heavyweight champ. This era of F-150s, especially from 2004 to 2008, earned a strong reputation for toughness, and if you find one with the right maintenance history, it can still work hard without draining your wallet. The most common engine is the 4.6-liter V8, not the fastest, but simple and proven. The 5.4 V8 has more muscle, but be extra cautious. These had issues with cam phasers and spark plug breakage, so a thorough service history is a must before you hand over any cash. You'll be looking at fuel economy in the mid-teens, which isn't stellar, but that's the trade-off for a full-size workhorse. Inside, they're spacious, with seats that feel more like a living room armchair than a truck bench, and plenty of storage cubbies. At $6,000, you're likely shopping higher mileage trucks, so prioritize ones that haven't been abused for heavy towing. And if you're in a rust-prone area, don't skip checking the cab corners and bed supports. Those are common problem spots. Coming up, we've got a truck that combines Japanese engineering with full-size American presence, and it might be the sleeper pick of this whole list. The Nissan Titan, especially from 2004 to 2010, is one of those trucks that flies under the radar. It never sold in massive numbers like the F-150 or Silverado, but those who own them swear by their power and simplicity. Under the hood, you get a 5.6-liter V8 that cranks out over 300 horsepower, plenty for towing, hauling, or just making your morning commute a bit more fun. Reliability-wise, the drivetrain is stout, but these trucks can suffer from rear axle, seal leaks, and exhaust manifold cracks. Both are fixable, but you'll want to check for oil around the rear wheels and listen for ticking sounds from the engine bay before buying. Fuel economy is about what you'd expect for a big V8. Think low to mid-teens. But the trade-off is effortless highway cruising and serious pulling power. Inside, the Titan's cab feels roomy and well laid out, even in older models. The rear seats in the crew cab version are surprisingly generous, making it a good option if you're hauling people as well as cargo. In today's market, clean Titans can still be found for $6,000 or less because they simply don't have the same resale hype as the big three, which works in your favor. And up next, we'll jump to a truck that may not have the same macho image, but it delivers rock-solid reliability and excellent fuel economy. Perfect if you want utility without the gas station guilt. Before we roll into the next truck, grab your phone, hit that subscribe button, and drop a comment telling me which city you're watching from. I always love seeing where this truck-loving crew is tuning in from, and who knows, maybe someone nearby has the perfect pickup tip for you. Let's talk about the Chevrolet Silverado 1500, specifically from 2003 to 2007. This generation is a sweet spot for buyers on a budget because it blends old-school mechanical simplicity with just enough modern comfort. The 5.3-liter Vortec V8 is the star here. It's known for running strong well past 200,000 miles if maintained. The 4.8-liter is also solid, though a bit less punchy. Now, be aware of two key issues: rust on the rocker panels and cab corners, and failing instrument clusters where gauges go dead or read wildly off. Neither is a deal breaker if you spot it early, replacement clusters aren't too expensive, and rust repair is manageable if caught before it spreads. Fuel economy sits in the mid-teens, which is par for a truck this size, and transmissions from this era are generally tough if fluid changes weren't neglected. Inside, you'll find a straightforward, work-friendly design. The seats are comfortable, visibility is great, and if you get the extended cab, you've got usable rear seating for kids or occasional passengers. Best part? Because Silverados are everywhere, parts are cheap and easy to find, making ownership far less painful on the wallet. Alright, here's a Japanese workhorse pick. The Toyota Tundra from 2000 to 2006. It's often overshadowed by the domestic full-sizers. But this first-generation Tundra has a reputation for bulletproof reliability that rivals the Tacoma. Many of these are still running strong with well over 200,000 miles, and that's not by accident. The 3.4-liter V6 is solid, and the 4.7-liter V8 is a smooth, long-lasting workhorse. If you go V8, check the timing belt service history, it's a big job if overdue. Rust can be an issue on the frames, just like with Tacomas, so bring a flashlight and really inspect underneath. You can expect fuel economy in the high teens for the V6 and mid-teens for the V8. Inside, it's not flashy, but it's comfortable, with plenty of headroom and a straightforward layout that ages well. Because they're not as common as F-150s, pricing can be a little all over the place. But with patience, you can still track down a clean example for around $6,000. And once you do, you've got a truck that'll likely outlast whatever you replace it with. And next, we've got a truck that's more often seen in work fleets than driveways, which is exactly why it can be a hidden gem for budget-minded buyers. The Ford Ranger, especially from 2004 to 2011, is one of those trucks that quietly does everything you need without much drama. These compact pickups are perfect if you don't need to tow a house but still want real truck utility. The 4-cylinder version is super simple and can sip fuel in the low 20s, while the 3-liter and 4-liter V6s give you more grunt for hauling or highway merging. Mechanically, they're tough, but keep an eye on the frame rails for rust, especially around the rear leaf spring mounts. Also, listen for noisy timing chains on the 4-liter V6. A rattle at startup could mean expensive repairs. Transmission options are basic, 5-speed manuals or automatics that are easy to service and relatively cheap to replace if needed. Inside, it's Spartan, but that's part of the charm, less to break. The regular cab is tight, but the extended cab gives you space for gear, tools, or the occasional passenger. The real advantage of the Ranger is cost of ownership. Parts are everywhere, and most mechanics know them inside out. That means you can keep one on the road for years without draining your bank account. Up next, we're going south of the border, sort of, with a truck that was designed for heavy work, but can still be found in great condition if you know which years to target. The Chevrolet Avalanche from 2002 to 2006 is a bit of an oddball in the truck world, but that's exactly what makes it a smart buy for $6,000 or less. Built on the same platform as the Suburban, it offers SUV comfort with a full truck bed thanks to its signature midgate design that lets you extend cargo space into the cab. Most come with the trusty 5.3-liter Vortec V8, which is known for long life if oil changes are done on schedule. Common trouble spots include cladding fading on early models, which is cosmetic, and potential rust on the rear quarter panels. Also, check the rear window seals. Water leaks can cause headaches if ignored. Fuel economy is what you'd expect for a full-size with a V8, sitting in the mid-teens, but the Avalanche makes up for it with unmatched versatility. You can haul plywood one day, then take the family on a comfortable road trip the next. The ride is smooth, the cabin is spacious, and if you find one that hasn't been beaten to death as a work truck, you're getting a lot of vehicle for the money. Coming up, we'll look at a truck that's built for work crews but can serve as a reliable everyday hauler if you pick the right version. The Dodge Ram 1500, particularly from 2003 to 2008, is a full-size truck that can still be a bargain buy if you shop smart. The standout engine here is the 5.7-liter Hemi V8, plenty of torque, a great sound, and a reputation for durability when serviced regularly. There's also the simpler 3.7 and 4.7-liter V8s, but the Hemi tends to hold up best in the long run. Now, these Rams aren't without their quirks. The dashboards in this era are notorious for cracking, especially in sunny climates. Not a deal breaker, but something to factor in. Rust on the wheel arches and lower doors is common, and rear axle seals can leak, so check underneath for fresh oil or grime buildup. Fuel economy is about what you'd expect for a full-size with a big V8, mid-teens. But the ride is comfortable, the cab is roomy, and the styling still looks aggressive even after all these years. And because they were popular, finding parts is a breeze. The GMC Sierra 1500 from 2003 to 2007 is basically the Chevrolet Silverado's twin, but often sells for a little less just because it wears a different badge. That's good news if you're shopping on a budget. Under the hood, you'll see the same reliable 5.3-liter Vortec V8, capable of running for hundreds of thousands of miles with basic maintenance. Like the Silverado, these Sierras can suffer from rocker panel and cab corner rust, so get low and inspect. The instrument cluster failure is also common, but it's a relatively cheap fix. One perk with the Sierra is that well-optioned trims, like the SLE or SLT, often come with nicer interiors, leather seats, and better sound systems, and you can still snag them for around that $6,000 mark. Fuel economy, mid-teens, no surprises there, but what you get is a truck that's easy to work on, has massive parts availability, and blends workhorse utility with everyday comfort. Next up, we could go with something truly left field, a truck that most buyers overlook completely, which is exactly why it's such a bargain. The Mazda BSeries pickup, especially from 2004 to 2009, is one of the most ignored trucks on the used market, and that's exactly why you can find them cheap. Here's the twist. Under the skin, it's basically a Ford Ranger from the same era. That means the same tough 4-cylinder and V6 engines, the same durable transmissions, and the same simple, no-frills construction that keeps repair costs low. Because it's wearing a Mazda badge, a lot of shoppers pass right by it in listings, but for you, that's a win. Prices tend to be a few $100s lower than an equivalent Ranger, and insurance rates can even be cheaper. Just like with the Ranger, you'll want to inspect the frame rails and rear leaf spring mounts for rust, and listen for timing chain noise on the 4-liter V6. Fuel economy is solid for a small truck, landing in the high teens to low 20s depending on the engine. The cab is basic, but comfortable enough for daily use, and the extended cab versions are surprisingly versatile. So, whether you're after a tough full-sizer, a nimble compact, or something in between, $6,000 can still get you a solid truck if you know what to look for and what to avoid. Just remember, the key is patience, a good inspection checklist, and never being afraid to walk away from a bad deal. If you enjoyed this rundown, I've got 2 more videos you'll love, one on the most reliable SUVs under 10 grand, and another on the hidden car deals that nobody's talking about this year. Click over and keep your car knowledge rolling.